garbage where it counts.
All right, we're going to start. You ready?
Well, yeah, let's just tell us what you do here at OCARTA and, what your title and name and everything is and just your history here.
Okay, my name is Brandi Vore, and I am the site manager at Oklahoma Card Association. Um, I have been here since 2007, so December 2007. My role has changed significantly since then. Then I was like a copy maid, or coffee maid, either one. Just kind of learning, figuring out what was going on here. Um, I had left for 2 years because of funding loss and went back into the food industry. And then the opportunity came to help manage and run the youth program here. And Donna had said, "Hey, I'm going to get this funding for a youth program. Will you come manage it?" And I was like, "When? Where? Sign me up. I'm ready to go." So I gave my notice, and I started back here that July. So when I first started back here, I started with the youth program, managing that, well, actually figuring out what that meant to us. Um, and then some people had gone separate ways, and then so it went from managing youth to managing the facility. So that was a big change. And then also I had to take over the books, so the accounts payable and everything. So a lot of things had changed quite quickly. Within about 6 months of me coming back, I went from, oh, we're just going to do youth to, oh, here, I need you to help me do everything. So, even though, I have a title or I have a degree or certifications and stuff like that, um, the main thing that I love the most about here is that everyone is willing and able to do whatever is necessary. Because some days I'm a plumber, and some days a dishwasher, and some days, I file paperwork. Some days I teach a group. The main one that I teach and love the most is facilitating the peer recovery support specialist training.
You are a peer, right?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
a
so
peer.
you're in recovery.
Yes, I'm in recovery. I'm co-occurring actually. I'm an alcoholic and also have mental illness with depression and anxiety. So I have 2.5 years of sobriety, and even though I had worked here, I hadn't reached my full alcoholism potential.
Potential, yes.
So working here and being a alcoholic was fun. Not really, but the great thing about being here and who I work for and where I work was I was given a second chance. So it was like, you obviously have a problem that you haven't addressed, and so it was like 90 meetings in 90 days or lose your job. So I went to the meetings, and then I have been in recovery ever since, and I'm in love with that as well, and I'm blessed to work somewhere that gave me that chance, and then also gave me another tool to live my life. But yeah, I have been basically helping um, the rest of the staff be able to reach their maximum potential, because that's what they're doing on a daily basis with the people that come in the door. So I'm trying to help them reach their maximum potential as well. What their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their passions are and hobbies, so that we can build on that. And then that way, work doesn't get dull, it doesn't get boring. Although my favorite phrase is "there's never a dull day at OCARTA." And it's pretty accurate. So there's always a character or two to spice the day up. But yeah, that's about it. If I listed everything that I actually do, you would run out of film.
No, I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
But from the time that you started here and created this building and this OCARTA, you've been able to add several programs, right?
Absolutely.
So just take a minute to talk a second about some of the different things you've been able to expand and do since you've been here.
So when I got here, we had just got the first time that I got here, we had just gotten a grant for Sister to Sister, and that was mainly focused on women with children who were recently released from prison, and so the entire staff were female, different cultural backgrounds or ethnicities. But it was an all-female staff because that was our main source of income. We still had advocacy as far as talking to policymakers and the grassroots aspect of OCARTA, which we started on. But that had become our new federal grant that we had for quite some time, and that really blossomed. We had great success with that. When we would do follow-ups 6 months and then a year after they had graduated the program, so we're talking a total of 18 months, we had an 86% of them were still in recovery of the ones that we tracked and could find. So that's a huge number. And I still know several of them today that are still in recovery, thriving, happy, and really had overcome a lot of obstacles that even at a younger age then I couldn't even fathom of what they had gone through. Reunification with their children, learning that they could get through it with or without a male perspective added in. No offense to men, but a lot of times women rely not on each other or themselves to be successful, and it was just a way of showing them that they could become self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. And then we got the youth money, and then also Peer Bridger, which is us bridging people from treatment, and then also we were able to start the youth program, so we were able to reach a younger audience, and that's when I had came back on board after that, and that was really enjoyable because it was very it was kind of like the way it was presented was like, we don't really know what you can do with this, but show us what you can do with it,
Yeah.
and then we will give you the parameters.
Yeah, go for it.
That's cool.
Hey, baby, be safe.
Okay. I love you.
I gotta get this notarized. I can't just sign it.
Okay.
Going to the bank.
Just edit.
Thanks
that.
so
Bye.
much.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Just edit that.
That's a cameo appearance.
Yeah, right.
We'll have to pay her
Yeah,
extra
yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the money for the teens, and basically there were a couple of guidelines and things like that as far as the budget, but it was more of, here's this money, see what you can do. And so what we did was we just had to start our programming from the ground up, and so we just took pieces of what we already had, then try to make it the age appropriate, and then things like youth rap, go to some evidence-based stuff, so it wasn't just us just throwing sticks at it.
Right.
Wanted to make sure that we could have some actual results, I had a main base of 12 youth when I started. 11 out of the 12 graduated high school. One is still out there that I'm gonna get. Get him.
Get 'em.
But he has a job and is very good. It's a very well-paying job and everything like that. However, I'm like, GED, or you have until you're 21, and it's coming up to finish high school. So I'm going for the 12 out of 12, but 11 out of 12, I'm okay with that. That was my generation. We're still, doing the youth program. Someone else.
But these are kids that likely would have dropped out, huh?
Yeah.
So they graduated high school,
Yeah.
11 out of
Yeah.
12. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
absolutely. And it doesn't seem like a big number, but it really is.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because out of those kids, then they know however many teens, and they were, it's a trickle effect, but there was just the main 12 that I was tracking and worked closely with. It's not saying they didn't bring their friends every now and then and things like that. And also, we were blessed to have the housing money come in. It allowed us to open up. We have 2 women's sober houses and then a male sober house. The 2 in Oklahoma City, I help Monica manage as far as like if there's something big going on or someone needs to be gently escorted off the property, she'll call me, and unfortunately that happens, but it is what it is. We can't have someone on property that is intoxicated or high. That's kind of rule number 1 guideline for sober living. But the difference between ours and sober living, it's transitional, where they're a lot more in depth. Every woman or male that's in our housing has to be in our program as well and have a mentor. So it's not really for someone that has a couple years of sobriety and just needs a place to be, like maybe an Oxford House or something. It's more for people that really need a lot more intensive guidance in the housing, UAs weekly and things like that, so that they have better success once they transition into sober living or a permanent resident of their own. Especially with the women, a lot of them are working on getting their children back, so they need somewhere permanent, and they need somewhere that's stable. And we just had a lady that was able to transition out, and she was 4 or 5 months pregnant when we got her, and then by the time she left our house not too long ago, she had her newborn and then got her other 2 children back and transitioned into her own house. So it is working, and we're still keeping a close eye on her though, because we're like, I think it was too soon, but it's like, okay, if you're ready, you're ready. And then we also have the first responder grant. What that allowed us to do was open up our facility in Tulsa, and we're working with law enforcement to help promote opioid overdose prevention, and we are educating the public about the naloxone kits, and actually next week we'll be handing them out at our bus
That's
station.
what I heard. So that all came from that grant. That's how you were able to afford the kits to hand out.
The first responder grant, yeah. The state awarded it to us, and so that's what we're gonna do. We weren't able to really get compliance with Oklahoma City Oklahoma City Police Department, so we're just gonna do it on our own as far as
At the bus station?
Yeah, and go from there. But Tulsa PD is going to work with us, and basically what we do is they'll send us an email of someone that they gave a kit to, and then we are able to follow up with them and figure out whether they were a bystander or if it was them, or what level of care they would need, and then it kind of has guidelines that we go by, and we follow up within 24 hours of receiving the email. But that's in Tulsa. Unfortunately, Oklahoma City PD is just kind of not into it. They're not ready, so we're having to figure out other ways. But we're gonna still do the education. There's nothing illegal about handing the kits out. You just have to get them from a doctor, as far as getting them prescribed. But you can hand them out to anybody, because literally they're saving lives. And even if you did it, it wouldn't do anything to you.
Right.
It doesn't do anything if you're not high on opioids or something. But if you are, then it will help you
Save
breathe
your
again.
life,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do with that. And then those are the grants that we have. And then we have private donors, and then we also have people that donate online. We really use that a lot for when we have our recovery walks. My hope is that you guys are able to come and be involved, or we can come to each other's events, and then really get to you to one of those ARCO meetings. You'd get a lot out of it.
Yeah, now what is ARCO? What does that stand
It's
for?
Association of Recovery Communities Organization.
Okay.
And it is like executive directors or people like yourselves that are wanting to start a recovery community organization.
Okay, so it's a national
Absolutely.
thing, so we need to get like signed up with them
Yeah.
or something,
Mhm.
huh?
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
I'm gonna go too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it have great workshops, great networking, and you'll get so much. And Donald McDonald, the guy you spoke to
Yeah.
yesterday, he's a member of ARCO as well.
Yeah, I know you guys
And,
were talking about it, but I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
And so I guess they'll be meeting twice a year, and I was actually inquiring about that today. So, but yeah, I can't wait for that. And no matter what, we're together on this because it is all about spreading recovery throughout the nation. If we could get everybody that was, in a 12-step program to march on the Capitol, it would probably be bigger than
Unbelievable.
when they marched on the Capitol for Vietnam or for equal rights. I mean, there would be 23 million Americans trying to get into Washington D.C. And
What
that
about
would
Oklahoma
make the
City? I
biggest
mean, the
one.
city itself, the mayor and the city council and everything, are they supportive at all in any way? Do they,
They're supportive. We invite them to everything we do. Our biggest supporter is our single state agency, is the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. And with having them have our backs, when we need something, we call them. Just like if they need something, they call us. And so having that bond with them has been the greatest tool for us. And the best part about being a grassroots agency is that we will go door to door. We will get that person out of office. That legislator that wants to vote no on something, and they have the last rule, like, if you vote the wrong way, we will make sure you're out. And that's where the power lies with the grassroots and advocacy agencies, is because we're not lobbying. We are simply saying, guess what this guy did, or guess what this lady did, And that's where we can really make a difference, is we will just vote you out and get someone in that will support recovery. But overall, we haven't had a lot of non-supporting as far as that. I'm a little nervous about January when we have a new governor, because I don't necessarily agree with his perspective on what's going on, but it's going to be what it is, and it's always, it's kind of always a battle when it comes around budget time, but we have yet to see significant cuts. So hopefully, the work that we do speaks for itself.
Well, this has
And
been
it does.
great.
I think
Thank you
Karen
so
up.
much
You're welcome.
for sharing everything, and
Yeah.
we can end